It's Wednesday, December the 13th. Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our New Zealand weather update as we take a look at the weekend weather and also a sneak peek to Christmas Day. Don't lock it in yet, but a lot of people are asking about it. Let's have a look and see what's going on. We've got an enormous area of high pressure stretching all the way down to the Southern Ocean, Tasmania area, and stretching all the way up to the tropics and is the guiding force for Tropical Cyclone Jasper. Got a special video about that out today, all about the landfall coming in tonight, we expect, in northern Queensland. So for New Zealand, we're on the other side of the high. So the big windy sou'wester, that brought up a very active cold front yesterday with severe thunderstorms, hail, and the damaging winds we saw in Wellington. To me, that's quite a normal December, late spring setup. We used to get a lot of those kind of cold fronts in the 1990s and the early 2000s, but they've faded off a lot in the last several years because we've actually seen a lot more high pressure around the top of New Zealand, and that really limits how far up the country those sort of active cold fronts go. But this year has been a lot more traditional, which is why we're getting a lot of complaints about where is summer. But in my childhood, summer never really kicked in until January, at least for my upbringing at the top of the country. Let's move through to Thursday because here is that high to the north, and it starts to bring in a warmer airflow into the New Zealand area. So yes, yesterday, Tuesday, today, Wednesday, both a bit cooler with the wind blowing. But by Thursday, we should start to see that warmer airflow coming out of Australia. And by Friday, even more so, because now it's coming out of Queensland and northern parts of New South Wales. The high is here, subtropical airflow coming around. So if you live on the eastern side of the North Island and you've been asking us week after week, when will we get some warmer, drier, windier weather? It kicks off on Friday. Windier in a number of places, especially the South Island and Wellington. Rain showers moving into the west coast. So this weekend, there's a cold front that moves over Tasmania and brushes coastal parts of Victoria, but it struggles to reach New Zealand. High pressure up here, kind of pushing back. That encourages that mild westerly wind to carry on again through the weekend with a bit of patchy, showery weather sort of stuck in between. Now on Sunday, that's more of a classic cold front coming back in again with a burst of windy weather and a temperature drop at the other end of the country. And at the top end of New Zealand, mild subtropical airflows coming down from Norfolk Island and near Tonga. So it won't be too bad. It'll be pretty warm. I think some places will be in the late 20s, potentially getting into the low 30s for some of you out east. Out west, different story. Aucklanders, take note of this headline. You may not have a really hot summer if we keep getting westerlies off the Tasman Sea. Been saying that for months now, but a lot of people don't seem to hear it. The hot, dry weather, most likely inland and out to the east in a setup like this in particular. So by Monday, there's a little bit of a blip here with some showers around the place, maybe an isolated heavy fall or two. Otherwise, high pressure's in charge and it's mostly dry. And yes, another area of low pressure here for Adelaide and South Australia. They're having a very wet December so far. But as far as this Monday is concerned, coming up, fairly settled. Now let's fast forward another week ahead. Don't lock this in. That's why I wrote that there. But because yesterday when I looked at this model, it showed that big high pressure zone smack bang over the top of New Zealand. And 24 hours later, what does that same update look like? Completely different. Although for the North Island, pretty warm. Subtropical winds, hot and windy in the east, potentially wet on the west coast and cooler in the south. That's the current early forecast. I might start showing that map a little bit more often at the end of our videos as we go up towards Christmas Day. You can start to see what we see as forecasters trying to make sense of something that long term. Anyway, that is all from me for today. Back again tomorrow, Thursday, as we take a look at our weekend weather and how next week's shaping up in New Zealand, counting down to Christmas. And of course, we'll also have our 7-day Australia outlook as well. So we'll see you tomorrow with our next update.